Hello and welcome to another episode of Jets Mailbag. I'm your host, Jeane Coakley, alongside my co-host, as always, Mr. Connor Hughes. Connor, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm battling hand, foot, and mouth disease, which is something that I didn't know adults could get. My lovely daughter, Brooke, handed me that one, which hasn't been too fun to battle that over the last couple of days. Although my wife's been happy because I can't talk or hadn't been able to talk as much.
The mouth part is real good.
Yeah, well, there's all these things that just pop up and they swell and you can't really speak. It sounded like I was speaking with a slur for the last 48 hours or so, but we're finally on we're on the mend. We're on the up and up. There's still a little bit of pain, but I think I'm on the good side of things. And yeah, you live and learn. I thought it was a kid's illness. Turns out it's not. Adults get it too.
Well, maybe it still is a kid's. Maybe it is actually a kid's illness.
Actually, I didn't discredit myself anything there. Yeah, I can't cross myself off that one.
I just want to give it. All right, so let's talk a little about the Jets. Well, let's try to talk about the Jets. They lost another game, and their quarterback, Justin Fields, suffered a concussion during the Jets' 30-10 loss against Buffalo. Next up, a clash with their old friend Todd Bowles, headed to Tampa for their first road game against the Bucs. So you know what, Connor? Let's get to the fans' questions. You got ready to go?
Let's do it. I'm ready.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
First question's from @NFL and Chino. If Tyrod Taylor plays this Sunday, beats the Bucs, and plays well, does AG stick with him as the starter moving forward? You know what, Connor? I'm going to answer this one real quick. Justin Fields is your starter if he's healthy next week. Go.
I think it does depend. Yeah, I think it really does depend how good Tyrod Taylor looks. I think it's a tough one to say, Jeane, really.
I'm disagreeing with you. I think if Fields is healthy,
it depends on how Taylor looks, because look, Justin Fields is a better athlete. Justin Fields can do things that Tyrod Taylor can't do, but from a passing perspective, Tyrod Taylor is a better thrower of the football. He's more accurate, is a little bit better going through his read progressions, and you'll see the Jets offense with Tyrod Taylor is going to open up more and be able to do more things than it was able to do with Justin Fields. I go back this statistic blew my mind, and I talked about this on Jets Final Drive. 2 years ago, Tyrod Taylor's final year with the Giants was the last time he started a bulk of games. He went 2-3 as a starter for a very, very bad Giants team. In those 5 games, Jeane, he threw over 20 yards 21 times. That ranked 31st in the NFL, and he only started 5 games. So he's somebody who is going to try to get the ball down the field, be overly aggressive. It's going to ignite guys like Garrett Wilson. Arian Smith, somebody that I'd look at and flirt with potentially at an anytime touchdown scorer, because he's going to take his shots, stand tall in the pocket. Now, the downside of that is that when he stands tall in the pocket and when he gives his receivers a chance to go down the field and when he's waiting to go deep, he's also going to take more hits, which makes him more susceptible and prone to injury. But if Taylor goes out there and say he drops 40 points on the Bucs, I don't know how you just send him to the bench. I don't really know. But I would say that foreshadowing how this game's going to look, Justin Fields will be the starter when he's healthy. I don't know if Tyrod's going to have that good of a game, but I do think this offense, specifically the passing attack, will be a bit more effective and able to do a bit more with him out there.
Okay, I got to follow up real quick. So, but don't you think that would negate what Aaron Glenn's been talking about all season?
That Justin Fields
is his quarterback. Justin Fields is quarterback. Justin Fields. If you literally say, okay, you know what, Tyrod, you had a great game. Justin Fields, you're healthy. You're just going to be the backup.
We're dealing with a lot of. There's so many hypotheticals here. It's okay. The Jets need to win. That's one big hypothetical because the Buccaneers are a very good football team.
Very good team.
Tyrod Taylor needs to. Let's look at it this way. If Tyrod Taylor throws for 230 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, no, I don't think that's good enough to steal the job from Justin Fields. If Tyrod Taylor throws for 320 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, runs for another 50 yards, and the Jets offense operates at a means against a pretty talented Buccaneers defense, that makes you say, whoa, holy cow, I think you need to have the discussion. You have to have the conversation. And maybe the conversation is, well, just give Justin Fields another week to heal. Don't force Justin Fields in it. Let him go through the concussion protocol and let him get ready, and then we'll look at him another week. And then you can play the injury card next week against the Dolphins of Fields is still hurt. Let's see what Tyrod Taylor looks like. There's a lot of question marks here. There's a lot of uncertainty here with what we're discussing. It's a lot of hypotheticals, but
yes,
how I know Tyrod Taylor operates, what I know about Tyrod Taylor as a player compared to Justin Fields as a player, you get more of an athlete You can do different things with Fields that you can do with Taylor, but if you're strictly talking about throwing the football and being a quarterback and going through your reads and going through 1, 2, 3, and look, that game against the Bills a week ago, Jeane, on the flight home from Dallas, I watched the All-22. The passing concepts that Tanner Engstrand drew up and threw out there worked. There were open receivers continually, whether it was Garrett Wilson on the first third down of the game, Arian Smith on the sideline, Garrett Wilson on the crosser. Fields just missed them because the inaccuracies we saw from Fields against the Bills was what we saw from Fields all throughout training. That's a problem. So if Tyrod can eliminate some of those and be more polished passer and give the Jets more on offense, I don't know. Maybe you do stick with them. But again, there's so many ifs.
I know. We love hypotheticals here, don't we? All right, Moving on. Dan Prime. Romo said a few times how the Jets defense was making it so easy for Josh Allen to read and adjust. Do you think they will adjust to this, and how?
I think there's a couple problems here. I think the Jets defense is going through a bit of an identity crisis right now where it almost seems like they're trying to blend principles from Aaron Glenn's defenses that he ran in Detroit, principles from Steve Wilkes' defenses that were so successful in Carolina, and also trying to keep some of the similar philosophies from Robert Saleh because the bulk of these defenders were Robert Saleh's guys. So if you think about like Robert Saleh's first year, Jeane, that defense was really bad. And it was bad because he didn't have his guys in place yet to run that defense. Well, now, look, I know Robert's gone and Jeff Ulbricht's gone. Well, the vast majority of players that they brought them there, the core of this defense, are all guys that were brought in to run Robert Saleh and Jeff Ulbricht's defense, which was so wildly successful during their years here as head coach and defensive coordinator. So it's like they're trying to marry all these different philosophies, and the result is something that everyone seems out of place. It's why Jamie Sherwood's struggling so mightily. Quincy Williams isn't playing particularly well. Michael Carter's struggling. Brandon Stevens is struggling. I think you have some personnel issues as well where Brandon Stevens just isn't that good. Tony Adams and Cisco aren't very good safeties, and those guys are getting exposed. But a lot of the problems with the defense right now is like a identity crisis mixed with personnel issues, mixed with I don't think they totally know what they are yet.
Okay, this next question, Luke Ofaline, I think he wants you to put on your coaching hat, Connor, because he says, I wonder what the Jets offensive coaches were thinking when they saw the injuries to the Buffalo defense and didn't think they were going to stack the box to force Fields to throw.
They didn't stack the box.
Shouldn't they have been designing shorter routes since they often had 5-6 guys in the box all game?
Well, that's the thing. They weren't facing loaded boxes. Like I know it seemed that way, but it was because the Bills essentially got film on Tanner Engstrand's offense from the first game against the Pittsburgh Steelers and then devised ways to attack that front. But like, shout out to Zach Rosenblatt, who's the co-host of Jets Final Drive with me. He has
when can people watch that, by the way?
Day after every single Jets game, as you can catch us there. I think mostly we go on at 2 o'clock once Brooke goes down for a nap. But I asked him the same thing because he has access to True Media, which is some of it's like NFL Next Gen stats. It gives you those analytics. Breece Hall only faced the stack box 20% of the time in week 2, which ranked 18th. It was 31.5% in week 1, which ranked 5th. The issue was that they were run blitzing here and there. And again, I said this just a minute ago. When you go back and you watch the All-22, the run blitzing was shutting down the Jets' rushing attack. That's why Breece Hall averaged minus 1.61 yards over expected. Like, that's not very good. One of the worst in that metrics from a week ago. But when the Bills are run blitzing, that opens up things through the air. And the passing concepts worked. Receivers were open. I go back to that first third down where Garrett Wilson was open over the middle. That was so eerily reminiscent to the touchdown that he scored against the Bears a few years ago when Mike White was this team's quarterback in the rain. It was a very similar pass, caught it, ran over, broke free. Justin Fields didn't make the throw. Arian Smith on the sideline almost made that acrobatic toe tapper, just couldn't get the second foot in bounds. He was open on the break. The throw from Fields was late and high, so it's incomplete. There was another play where Garrett Wilson just coming across on a little drag. The ball's thrown behind him. He can't react and it falls. I mean, Fields was 3 of 11 passing in the game for like 20-something yards? That's horrific. And it wasn't because, and we've seen this over the years with the Jets, where the quarterback drops back, especially with Nathaniel Hackett. No route is setting anyone up. No one's getting anyone else open. It's basically just like man on the outside. Try to get open. If you're not, the quarterback's going to have to pat the ball and then take a sack. That didn't happen. players were open. Fields just didn't hit them. So I don't blame a stacked box. I don't blame the offensive coordinator. I blame the fact that the quarterback just didn't make the throws that were there for him.
I love the fact that you got a Mike White reference in.
Always. My buddy's over in Cincy now. How about that today? He's got a chance there. If Browning fails, put Mike White in.
There we go. See, I knew we were going to get a Mike White reference into the show because Connor Hughes just loves you. Anyways,
we're gonna
all
get
right.
him on here. I'm going to hit him up. We're going to get him on the show.
Okay, that's fair. All right.
Dude, Jets play Bengals this year? Jets play Bengals, right?
Yeah, they do.
Let's get behind enemy lines with Mike White. We'll see if we can get that interview set up.
All right. I'm sure you can do it. All right, next up, Shade. By the way, I love Jets fans. They're fabulous. If defense doesn't improve, when does Glenn take over, or does he fire Wilkes? And if so, who takes over as DC? It's week 2, going into week 3, guys.
You know what's funny though, Janae, is year 1 with Robert Saleh. This was the cry too. Was that they wanted Jeff Ulbrich fired, right? Like, I mean, you remember that the Jets defense was struggling in large part because they didn't have the personnel. Now that team was truly absent talent. Like, they were really struggling. But the cries were there. Woody Johnson heard the cries, and Woody Johnson went to Robert Saleh and basically said, like, dude, you think we need to make a change at defensive coordinator? And Robert pounded the table for Jeff, and what happened? Eventually they turned it around and they made their run. I don't know if we get to that point. Like, I've talked to a couple defensive coordinators and defensive coaches who have reviewed the Jets film for me. And what they said to me is they don't totally know what they're trying to run. Because, again, there are moments where it looks like Robert Saleh's defense or Steve Wilkes is trying to run Robert Saleh's defense, which is actually what he did in San Francisco during his 1 year as defensive coordinator there. It did not work. Then there are times where you see principles from when Aaron Glenn was the defensive coordinator of the Lions, and then you also see parts of Steve Wilkes. I think they just need to mainstream one thing that they want to be. And the problem is that if they go, okay, a lot of these players were Ulbrich and Saleh guys, and because they're Ulbrich and Saleh guys, let's just stick with what they know. Let's run their defense. It's not that simple. What made the defense the last couple of years so successful under those two guys is Robert has run it forever. He was on that sideline with Jeff Ulbrich. He used to say this all the time. It was one of his lines. He knew every snake in the grass. He knew everything that could possibly beat that defense where and then how to mask it. That's not the case when someone else is running your defense. That's why you saw so many holes pop up on the Jets defense when Robert Saleh left. It was just Jeff Ulbrich there because Saleh was able to pitch in his ear and say, hey, this isn't going to work here. This isn't going to work here. Let's try this. Let's try that. They could help each other. And it was a collaborative effort. Well, if you have Wilkes running Saleh's defense without Saleh or Jeff Ulbrich, you're not going to have that intuition and that knowledge of what's going wrong. And I guess, yeah, Aaron Glenn could step in, but I don't think he's going to want to step on his coordinator's toes. He's going to want Tanner to do what Tanner's doing and Wilkes to do what Wilkes doing. And I don't think Wilkes will go back to being like, hey, let's just scrap this. Let's go back and run what I know, where I know everything. So it's just a bad spot to be in right now. You hope that everybody gets comfortable with everybody and it leads to better play. But we're going to see because at the moment it doesn't look good. And I think it's confusion which is amplifying the personnel deficiencies that the Jets do have on that side.
All right, Connor, let's hear from G, just straight up G. I rewatched the game from Sunday, and the Jets just seemed uninterested after being down 10. What is it with this org that we get the very worst performances no matter who the coach is?
That was the most, in my opinion,
disappointing, I think.
Yeah, and it's because everything that Glenn has preached since he's been this team's head coach, and I know it's a brief time, but going back to his introductory press conference, and it was we're the New York Jets. We're built for this, is what he said, and bleep me there if we have to. But like that was his quote. And you thought, in my opinion, that this was going to be a team that, they're going to take it on the chin. Yeah, there's going to be plays that they let up because of their talent deficiencies. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to win 9, 10, 11 games, but they're going to fight and they're going to claw. And they're never going to be kicked when they're down. You might knock them down 5 times, they're going to get up 6. Like they're just going to keep getting up and up and up and up and up and up. That's what they're going to do. And instead, what you saw against the Bills was a team that rolled over. They did. It was the game. It wasn't going their way. It was very clear they weren't going to win. They weren't getting calls. They weren't getting bounces. The offense wasn't working. Fields was off. And so it was like a passive-aggressive dog that just like rolled over on its belly and was like, okay, let's wait for the clock to run out. And that was the punts. That was the kicking the field goals. That was some of the decisions. It wasn't just players. It was the way the Jets coached that game too. And it almost was like it felt as if they were coaching and treating that game like they couldn't wait for it to be over. And that's not what they were supposed to look like this year. If they were going to lose games, it was going to be because they were out-talented. It wasn't going to be because they were out-efforted. And I thought they were out-efforted by the Bills. And I don't have a reason for it because that's so not Aaron Glenn or everything that Aaron Glenn wants from his team, which is why I'm very intrigued to see how they come out here against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because that's a team that we were just talking about, Jeane. They're dealing with some injuries. They're putting offensive linemen on the IR. Baker Mayfield's banged up a bit too. I don't even think Chris Godwin's going to be playing. We'll see with that. This is where they're gettable. It's a very good team, but they're gettable at the moment. And if the Jets come out and fall behind and they roll over again, like, it's just, I don't know. It's bad vibes, bad energy, which is what's supposed to be fixed right now.
I agree with you, Connor, because that's what you said. That's the one thing he preached. He is going to make this Jets team the team that's never out of the battle. He's going to get it. And they were out of the battle within the first quarter. And you could tell, and you're like, ooh, wow. But I'll be curious to see, like you said, I want to see how they come out week 3, because I have a feeling if Aaron Glenn has anything to do with it, that's not going to happen again anytime soon. Let's hope.
We'll see.
Yeah. All right. Heading down, David Shops. Why can't the Jets sign a better edge off another team's practice squad? Clemens and McGregor have made 0 positive plays, basically traffic cones.
Defensive linemen and defensive end in particular are a premium position. Guys who can set the edge, rush the passer. I mean, that is everything in the NFL. The players you're talking about don't exist. If there is anyone worth
no, they exist. They're just not on practice squads.
Correct. Yeah. That's what I mean. It's like they're not there. Like if there was any defensive end that was truly going to make a difference on Sundays, he would forget the Jets being able to sign him off somebody's practice squad. He would already be on his team's 53-man roster, or somebody else, one of the 31 other teams, would add that player to theirs. It just doesn't exist. And I genuinely don't believe. So here was the problem. The Jets went into this season believing our every down defensive end is Will McDonald, our every down defensive end is Jermaine Johnson. Those guys, unlike the past years where even the Jets' best players on the front only played like 60% of the snaps because Saleh wanted that rotation, those guys were going to play 80% of the snaps. That was going to happen. The Jets have realized that Will McDonald cannot play every snap because Will McDonald is a liability against the run. His Pro Football Focus grade against the run right now is like 29, which is second worst in the NFL among all defenders. He is the only player within the bottom 5 of PFF run defense grade that is not a defensive back. So they're all like corners. Like Deron Bland has the worst PFF grade against the run. They're all corners. They're all safeties. And then there's Will McDonald. So he is a liability. And he's a tremendous pass rusher, but his size and his weight, because he's just a skinny guy, he's thrown out of the club in the run game, which causes issues and causes holes. And right now, Quincy Williams and Jamie Sherwood are not filling that gap. So the Jets' original game plan of, okay, have those guys play 80% of the snaps, then Michael Clemens is going to be a rotational guy. Michael Clemens playing 15 snaps a game, Michael Clemens playing 18 snaps a game, that's fine. The problem now is because of Will McDonald's deficiencies against the ground game, you have to play Michael Clemens like 50 to 60% of the snaps. And now that issue is being risen of all of the warts in Michael Clemens' game. You're seeing them because he's on the field more than he's supposed to be on there. And now with Jermaine Johnson dealing with an injury, and we don't know if he's going to play Sunday against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you're putting Clemens in a position where he could start. So I think it's an unfortunate miscalculation of what the Jets had up front in believing McDonald was an all-around player, and right now he's just not. Hoping Jermaine Johnson was going to stay healthy, and right now he is not. And it's just, again, it's brought to the forefront so many of the issues that the Jets have on this roster in terms of just their overall construction. And I'd love to say there's a magic wand to be like, oh, here, Dallas Cowboys practice squad, you come over here. Oh, hey, Buffalo Bills, you come over here. Those players don't exist. Braden McGregor is that player. Like, Braden McGregor is the type of player that would be on somebody's practice squad. That's the type of player, and the Jets already have him here.
All right, how about Ian Friedman? What's with the defensive backs? Too many sloppy plays.
You're right. I mean, I think it's people ripped on Sauce, and it's always going to happen. He didn't have a great game against the Bills, but Sauce is still a legitimate number 1 corner. If you want to argue that he's not, if you want to argue he's not Singletary, if you want to argue he's not Surtain, fine. I mean, that's fine. You want to say, but still, he's a top 5 on his worst day, he's a top 10 corner in the NFL. He's going to give up some plays, but he's not a liability. The problem is that Brandon Stephens, again against the Bills, was a liability. He's been targeted 10 times this year. He's allowed 8 completions and 2 touchdowns. Michael Carter has been bad in the nickel spot. He's been bad inside. There's no other way to describe it. I think it was three targets, 3 completions allowed in the opener, and I think it was 3 more for 3 completions in week 2 against the Bills. He's getting beat, not making any difference. And I actually go back to the preseason or the offseason where I talked to a couple sources at the NFL Combine who told me that the Jets had prioritized re-signing Oliver, and they viewed him as a nickelback. And I was like, well, that's weird. Why do they want to bring him back? They have Carter. And someone said that Carter's play style didn't necessarily mesh with Glenn, and Oliver's more did. And they thought there was actually going to come a point in time this year where Isaiah Oliver took over from Michael Carter at the nickelback spot. I don't think we're there yet. They're still going to give Carter time, but you're right now weak. You know you're weak at the 2 safety spots. Cisco and Adams, they're just not very good. Then if you're also weak at 2 of the 3 corner spots, that's just a recipe for a disaster. I know the Jets think they can get home with Quinnen, Quinnen's tremendous. Jermaine Johnson's a very, very good player. Will McDonald's an elite level pass rusher. But if 4/5 of your secondary is poor, it doesn't matter what you're doing elsewhere. And seeing Aaron Rodgers struggle as much as he did in week 2 after lighting up the Jets secondary, and Josh Allen, who didn't even have a good game, but guys were still open for him in the secondary, it makes me worried that aside from scheme issues the Jets are going through, I think their bigger issue continues to be personnel.
I'm going to have
to agree with you on that. Stevens is a big one today because just real quick on this one too. The biggest issue with Stevens is this just seems like arrogance from an evaluation standpoint of a secondary and a head coach and Aaron Glenn, who was a former corner, defensive-minded coach, saying I can fix this guy. I see something no one else does. If you want to do that with somebody who was a cast-off from the Jaguars, I believe it. A cast-off from the Giants, I believe it. A really bad organization that just routinely lets players go and can't evaluate anything. You know what? You might be able to find a diamond in the rough and get something out of them that other people haven't. Look at Daniel Jones right now with the Indianapolis Colts. The problem with doing that with the Baltimore Ravens is the Baltimore Ravens win 12 games every single year. The Ravens had Brandon Stephens in their building for 4 or 5 years. He struggled like he's struggling these first 2 weeks every single year with the Ravens. He consistently allowed completion percentages over 60%. He consistently allowed touchdown after touchdown. I don't think at no point in his career has he allowed fewer than 2 touchdowns in a season. He allowed quarterback ratings routinely over 100 during his tenure with the Ravens to the point where they said, we can't do this anymore. So in a stable, tremendous organization that seems to make every single right decision until Lamar Jackson falters in the playoffs, says we're done with a player, why do you think you're going to fix him? That was the signing that universally around the league, everyone was kind of I don't understand that one. But Glenn thought he could fix Stevens. Stevens had a good camp. The problem is in games, he's doing exactly with the Jets what he did every single year with the Ravens. And I don't think you're going to end up fixing it. I know people want A.Z. Thomas, but he's a rookie. He's a developmental project as a 3rd-round pick. I don't think that's fixing anything either.
And again, like you said, Stevens signed a 3-year, $36 million contract. So that was one of their big offseason gets.
Yeah. 21 guaranteed, I think, something like that.
Yeah. All right, let's go King Pink. Kind of like it. All right, is the Jets' lack of a true wide receiver number 2 more on the quarterback play, coaching and schemes, or just lack of talent?
Guys were open. That's all I can say. When you go back and you watch the All-22, and you guys know me, I'm not going to sit there and evaluate a receiver off the press. I'm not going to break him down how many steps he's taken before he goes with his in route. I'm not that X's and O's guy. That's Connor Rogers' job. I'm not going to try to infringe on him in any way, shape, or form. But you watch that All-22, and if when Justin Fields gets to his break and goes like this, hit pause on the tape. Go NFL Plus, I think it's called. It's $80 a year. Subscribe to it, and just every time Fields hits his back foot and it's time to throw, or because he also held the ball forever, so don't go right when he's going to release. Wait until it gets to the point where Fields was okay, that's he hit his back foot, now's the time to throw. Hit pause, and look where all the receivers are in the All-22. I promise you that you can find 2 guys that are open. The passing concepts from Engstrand worked. It literally gave me PTSD flashbacks to Zach Wilson being this team's quarterback with Mike LaFleur.
Whoa, slow down.
Seriously, though, it was that bad last week. Honestly, Jeane went 3 of 11 for 27 yards. Like that, we didn't even see that through 3 quarters.
In third quarter, I know.
Through 3 quarters, like seriously. So when you would watch LaFleur with Zach and you did the same pause, you'd be like, "Oh, there's Corey Davis. That he should be open. Oh, there's Garrett. Oh, there's Elijah. Oh, okay, those guys are open. Why isn't the ball going that way?" And Zach's either looking in the wrong place or staring at the open guy and saying, "No, I still don't trust what I'm seeing," and then holding it too long, taking sack, pick, all that stuff. When you then took Zach Wilson out and you put Josh Johnson in, Joe Flacco in, Mike White in, all these other quarterbacks that played for the Jets and then lit the world on fire, there's a reason why Mike LaFleur's offensive statistics ranked in the top 5 of the league with anyone other than Zach Wilson and bottom 2 in the league with Zach Wilson. The plays were there to be made. The quarterback wasn't making it. Look, Allen Lazard's a bad number 2 receiver. Josh Reynolds is not a good number 2 receiver. Johnson's not a good number 2 receiver. Arian Smith someday might be, but he's not right now. Yeah. But when their other receivers and the receivers are open and they are there and the plays are there to be made, how can you fault the receivers who are open? How can you fault the offensive coordinator for calling those plays? They're there to be made. The quarterback just wasn't making them.
That is fair. Now, Connor, our last question comes from one of our guys. Love this guy. We both know him very well. Jake Asman?
Yeah, Asman. Yeah.
Asman, yeah. Love him. True Jets fan, loves this team. Asks, when does the pain ever end?
Look, it's I will say this because I covered the Cowboys game, right? So I was Giants Cowboys. Literally the best game I've ever covered in my life. Like that was in person, like as a professional, absurd football game. Okay. I was watching the Jets on my tablet, and then on the flight home was when I watched the All 22. During the game, I was texting Zach, being like, "Dude, what's going on? What's happening here? I think I saw this. Is that true? I saw Jermaine Johnson's out with the ankle. Is that Achilles? What are we going on here?" He was filming the whole time. So I was texting him. Then the post game happens. Glenn acts like he acts in the post game, and Zach texts me. He goes, "Dude, this fan base is hot." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "They are furious." He goes, like, honeymoon over. Like, this is like they're calling him Salah. They're ripping him apart. They're saying it's done. The problem, and I think it's what I think truly like what Jake's talking about, when's the pain going to end. If this was just a normal rebuild and this was any other team, you're looking at this like, okay, we probably don't have a franchise quarterback right now. Played pretty well in the opener against the Steelers, like saw some really good things. Had kind of a dud in week 2. Well, we're going into week 3. Like, yeah, we're 0-2. It stinks, but new coach, new GM, new all that stuff. The problem with the Jet fan is that it's just been so damn long since this team tasted any kind of success that, like, this doesn't feel like 2 losses. This feels like building off of the 12 from a year ago. Like, this doesn't feel like 2 losses. This feels like, oh, we haven't made the playoffs in 14, 15 years. This is just more kicks in the teeth. Like, it's just mounting and mounting and mounting and mounting with very little payoff. And look, do I believe in Darren Muji? Yeah. Do I believe in Aaron Glenn? Yeah, we'll see. But like, I said this all the time when the Jets hired these 2 guys, and people hit me up like, oh, is it going to be different? Why is it going to be different? Why is it going to be different? And I finally said, like, dude, I'm done guessing. Because like my first ever coach was Rex Ryan. Then it was Todd. Then it was Adam. Then it was Robert. And the GMs go the same way with Idzik, McCagnon, and Joe. And it was always like, oh, I think this Joe Douglas literally checks every single box of what you want from a GM. I think he's going to be great. Wow, Robert's the motivation. I think he's going to be. Oh, Adam's the offensive-minded genius. I think he's going to be. I was like, I'm done thinking. I'm done guessing. One, they need to get a quarterback. And 2, I need to see it with my own eyes in a game. That's when I'll know it's different. I don't know if it's going to be different. I don't know when the pain and suffering is going to. I don't know because you just can't see it yet. And I think ultimately a game where you looked pretty good and lost and a game where you did not look good at all, it's not that big of a deal when you got a new coach and a new GM and a new philosophy and all this stuff. It just feels so much worse for Jet fans because it's just continuation. It's continual ineptitude. It's continual embarrassment. It's continual struggles. It's continual losing. And at the end of the day, this is entertainment. That's what that's what football is. It's where people that are dealing with everything they're dealing with, all the shit in their lives and all the crap in their lives, they can finally turn all that off and just watch football. The problem is you want to tune off all that crap outside and you want to watch this team, and what do you get? You get more sadness. Like, that's the problem. And unfortunately, until they start winning games, I don't think it's going to change.
Listen, Jake, I'm just going to tell you, you know what? Once it does break through, it's going to be worth the wait, right? The waiting and waiting and waiting is going to be even sweeter.
When's
So
that
that's
going to be, though? That's the
I don't,
thing.
it doesn't matter. You got to keep, I don't know. I don't know. But once it happens, it has to happen though, right? It has to.
As Woody said to us at the owners' meetings, I don't know why we can't find a franchise quarterback. What would you do? Or something like that. He's like, I don't know. What would you guys do to find a franchise quarterback? I feel like we've tried everything. Like it's true. It's just, you don't know.
It will
Like
happen. It will.
I don't think. I don't.
That time, the Red Sox. How long did it take the Red Sox to finally win their first?
We're gonna be dead, Jeane. If that's the case, is it like 100-something years?
Yes. We've suffered. Like it's been. Anyways, I'm moving on. One last question, and this literally is one of my favorite people.
This is my mom again.
I don't know. You might. I know her very well. Bree Hughes. She wants to know: Are you cooking me dinner tonight? And if so, what are you making?
We are actually going out to eat. Like that is so. I think she should know that pretty soon. But we are. I am finally feeling better. So she took care of me the last couple of days because I couldn't eat anything with this hand, foot, and mouth crap. Like I couldn't swallow. So she brought me home like milkshakes and all that other stuff. But tonight I'm feeling better. Today I can finally eat. So I would say, Jeane, the best part about this job is how much we travel and the traveling to different places and trying different foods. So left hand up, I'm a huge food snob. Like huge food snob when it comes to going out to eat in restaurants. Like I want to go to, I'm not saying like I'm not saying like money, like expensive places, but like I want to go to like the hole in the wall amount where you're just going to get delicious, unbelievable food. Sometimes expensive, sometimes not. Never going to chains. I texted her this morning and I was like, dude, I need a bloomin' onion. So I think we're going to go to Outback tonight. Like we're going to pack up Brooke and go to Outback because I have a huge craving for a bloomin' onion right now.
Okay, but when are you going to cook her dinner? Because she did take care of you. And what are you cooking her?
We have that smoker outside now. I'll probably be smoking her some meat, something like that. I'll probably do it, or I grill. Like a lot of times, honestly, we're pretty good. Like Bree and I are very good at like we share it's not like I come home from work and expect the dinner sitting on the table. A lot of times, like Bree does the sides and I grill, especially in this weather right now. Like we grill like 3-4 times a week. So like I'll handle the meat outside, or the protein outside. She'll handle the stuff. And so we like. It's not usually just a full 100% of the time one person does it. We split it up. But she clearly wants a good dinner here. So I'm gonna have to hit the recipe book.
Thank you.
I know she won't have turkey burgers. That's usually my go-to. It's like, oh, we'll have turkey burgers. It drives her nuts.
You're good. Well, she deserves it after taking care of you. Actually living with you and taking care of you. Yeah,
that's the big one. That's the big one.
I know. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this edition of Jets Mailbag. Like we said before, we will be with you every week of the Jets 2025 season to answer your questions. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. You can submit your questions for next week's episode on mine, Connor's, or SNY's Twitter account, or drop them in the YouTube comments below this episode. For Connor Hughes, I'm Jeane Coakley. We will talk to you next week. Enjoy dinner, Bree.